Most women think that when a man pulls back or challenges her, he's losing interest. But if he's a high-value man, the opposite is true. He isn't playing games, he's conducting a stress test. He's looking for a partner, not a project, and he needs to know if your character is a rock or just a performance. Today, I'm revealing the 6 silent ways men audit the women they actually plan to keep. If you want to know why he's really challenging your opinions or staying silent, you need to hear this. It's time to move from being tested to being the woman who is unforgettable. We've been conditioned to believe that when a man starts pulling back or acting a little differently, it's a sign that he's losing interest. But often, for the man who is actually serious about you, it's the exact opposite. He isn't losing interest, he is qualifying. You see, a man who just wants a moment with you doesn't care about your character. He only cares about your chemistry. But the man who wants a lifetime with you, he is looking for something much rarer. He is looking for emotional integrity. He tests you not because he wants to trip you up, but because he wants to see if you are a safe harbor for his future. He might wait a little longer to text back. Not to be mean, but to see if your world revolves around your phone, or if you have a life of your own that you're actually proud of. He wants to see if you are a consumer of his energy or a contributor to his peace. The biggest test he will ever give you is the boundary test. When he says no to a plan, or when he needs space for his career, he is watching your reaction. If you become frantic, if you guilt trip him, or if you become passive aggressive, you've just told him that your emotional state is his responsibility, and to a high-value man that feels like a prison. But if you respond with, "No problem, I'll catch up with my friends instead," you've just passed the ultimate test. You've shown him that you are a sovereign individual. You've shown him that while you want him, you don't need him to function. He is looking for the woman who has the safety to fail else, as we discussed before, but also the strength to lead. He is looking for a partner who makes his life bigger, not more complicated. Stop worrying about whether you're passing his tests and start focusing on whether he is passing yours. Because the woman who knows her worth doesn't fear the test, she welcomes it. Because she knows that her character is the one thing that can never be faked. That no response audit, the ultimate character stress test in the early stages of dating. Most people are on their best behavior. We are polite, accommodating, and eager to please. Because of this, a man who is thinking about a long-term future doesn't look at how you behave when everything is going perfectly. He looks at how you behave when you don't get your way. This is the no response audit. It is a subconscious evaluation of your emotional maturity and your ability to respect boundaries without turning them into a battlefield. The psychology of the boundary. A high-value man often has a high-value life, which means he has existing commitments to his career, his family, his fitness, or his personal growth. Eventually, a moment will arise where your desires and his boundaries collide. He might have to cancel a date because of a work emergency, or he might simply say no to a specific activity you suggested. At this moment, he isn't just saying no to the plan, he is opening a window into your soul. He is watching to see if you view his no as a personal rejection or as a functional boundary. If you respond with guilt tripping, passive aggression, fine, whatever, or a flurry of anxious texts, you are failing the audit. You are telling him that your emotional stability is fragile and that he is now responsible for managing your feelings. To a man who values his peace, this is a massive red flag. It signals that a future with you will be one of constant emotional negotiation and walking on eggshells. Reactivity versus sovereignty. The no response audit measures your emotional sovereignty. A sovereign woman understands that a man's no to a plan is not a no to her value as a human being. When she hears a no, she remains non-reactive. She might say, "That's a shame, I was looking forward to it, but I hope your meeting goes well. I'll go see that movie with my sister instead." This response is a pattern interrupt for most men. It shows him that you have a life outside of him. It proves that you are a teammate, not a dependent. By not becoming reactive, you show him that you are a safe harbor. He realizes that he can be honest with you about his limits without being punished for it. This actually makes him want to say yes to you more often because the pressure of the no has been removed. The foundation of trust. Ultimately, this audit is about trust. A man cannot trust a woman who cannot handle the word no. If he feels he has to say yes just to keep you from having a meltdown, he will eventually start to resent you. He will feel trapped. Image a conceptual diagram showing a bridge of trust that remains stable even when a boundary pillar is placed in the center. When you pass the no response audit, you are showing him that you have the character to handle the friction of a real world relationship. You are telling him that you respect his autonomy as much as your own. This builds a deep, unshakable respect in his mind. He realizes that you are a woman of high standards and high emotional intelligence. The kind of woman who doesn't just want a man, but who knows how to build a life with one. The competence at chaos ratio, the stress test of partnership. When a man looks at a woman he is considering for a lifetime commitment, he isn't just looking at her beauty or her charm, he is looking at her utility in a storm. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. It involves flat tires, missed flights, financial hiccups, and family emergencies. A high-value man knows that a relationship is a long-term voyage, and he needs to know if the person sitting in the co-pilot seat is going to help him navigate the turbulence, or if she is going to become the turbulence herself. This is the competence-chaos ratio. Solving vs spiraling. The test often happens during a minor inconvenience. Imagine you're on a date and the restaurant loses your reservation. A woman on the chaos side of the ratio might become visibly distraught, complain to the staff in a way that creates a scene, or turn her frustration toward the man, ruining the evening with a cloud of negativity. In that moment, the man is doing a mental calculation. He is seeing that a small administrative error has caused a total emotional collapse. He thinks, if she can't handle a missing table, how is she going to handle a real-life crisis? A woman on the competence side of the ratio handles the same situation with poise. She might crack a joke, suggest a nearby food truck she's been wanting to try, or simply stay calm while the man handles the logistics. She remains a non-reactive sanctuary. By staying in the solution phase rather than the spiral phase, she proves she is an asset. She shows him that her presence actually lowers the stress of a situation rather than magnifying it. The team player metric. Men are biologically and socially wired to value competence. When a man sees you handle a high-pressure moment with grace, his respect for you hits an entirely new level. He moves you from the category of someone I'm dating to the category of someone I can build a life with. He is looking for a teammate, not a liability. Han image a high definition conceptual diagram of two people standing back to back in a storm, their silhouettes firm and grounded, while chaotic gray lines of life stress bounce off their collective calm zone. If every minor problem becomes a tragedy that he has to fix, soothe, or manage, he will eventually experience compassion fatigue. He will start to see you as a source of work rather than a source of peace. The competence-chaos ratio is his way of measuring the cost of being in a relationship with you. A high-competence woman is low cost and high reward. A high-chaos woman is high cost and exhausting. The foundation of long-term respect. Ultimately, this isn't about being perfect or never feeling stressed. It's about resourcefulness. It's about showing him that you have the internal tools to manage your own world. When you show that you can maintain your cool when things go sideways, you are telling him, I am a sovereign individual who can handle the world. Passing this test tells a man that you are a safe harbor. He realizes that if he ever falls, you are strong enough to help him back up, rather than just falling down with him. That certainty, the knowledge that you are a force multiplier in his life, is the foundation of unshakable long-term devotion. The social intelligence check, the waiter rule of character. A man who is looking for a long-term partner isn't just paying attention to how you treat him, he is watching how you treat the world when he's not the one in the crosshairs. He knows that during the honeymoon phase, you will be on your best behavior with him. You'll be kind, attentive, and patient because you're invested in the outcome. But he also knows that the truest indicator of your long-term character is how you treat the people who can do absolutely nothing for you. This is the social intelligence check. The hierarchy fallacy. Many people mistakenly believe that social intelligence is about being charming to the right people, the boss, the high-status friend, or the attractive date. But a high-value man views this as social climbing, not character. He is looking for a woman with intrinsic kindness. He watches the micro-interactions. How do you respond to the waiter who accidentally brings the wrong side dish? How do you react to the valet who is taking a little too long? Do you acknowledge the person holding the door, or do you treat them like a piece of furniture? If you are punching down at service staff or behaving with a sense of entitlement toward those in lower status positions, he is taking a mental note. He realizes that your kindness to him is a conditional performance, not a core trait. He knows that 10 years from now, when the newness of the relationship has worn off and you're having a bad day, that same impatient, entitled version of you will eventually be turned on him. The teammate. In public, this check also measures your ability to navigate social dynamics with grace. A man wants a woman who makes him feel proud to be by her side. If you are creating unnecessary friction in public, complaining loudly, being difficult for the sake of it, or lacking basic empathy for others, you are creating social chaos. To a man who values his reputation and his peace, this is a massive liability. Image a high-definition, candid shot of a young couple at a restaurant. The woman is smiling warmly and making eye contact with an unseen server, while the man watches her with a look of quiet, profound respect. When you show social intelligence, you are signaling that you have emotional sovereignty. You are showing that your mood isn't dictated by minor external inconveniences, and that you have the class to handle a mistake with a smile. This tells him that you are a high-value woman who understands that her influence comes from her grace, not her demands. The future forecast. Ultimately, the social intelligence check is about loyalty. If he sees you being dismissive or unkind to a stranger, he knows you lack the empathy anchor required for a lifelong partnership. He realizes that you don't view people as humans, you view them as functions. When you pass this test, you aren't just showing him you're nice. You're showing him that you are a safe harbor. You're proving that your character is a rock-solid foundation that doesn't crumble when the service is slow or the world is imperfect. He realizes that if you can treat a stranger with respect and patience, you will treat his heart with the same care for decades to come. The standards consistency test. Why he pulls back to lean in the world of high-stakes attraction. A man who knows his own worth is not just looking for a woman with high standards. He is looking for a woman whose standards are consistent. He knows that in the beginning, anyone can claim to have boundaries. Anyone can say they don't settle, that they require respect, or that they won't chase. But he also knows that many people use standards as a temporary sales tactic to get what they want. This is why he uses the standards consistency test. He is checking to see if your self-respect is a fundamental part of your identity or just a performance you put on when things are going well. The pull-back protocol. The most common way this test manifests is through a subtle pull-back. He might go from texting every day to a period of silence. He might be slightly less available for a weekend. He isn't doing this to be cruel. He is doing it to see how you respond to the vacuum of attention. A woman who performs high standards but doesn't actually possess them will panic. She will start chasing the attention she thinks she's losing. She'll send double texts, ask, "Is everything okay?" Or worse, she'll drop her own boundaries just to get him back into her orbit. In that moment, the man realizes that her standards were just a facade. He sees that as soon as the pressure was applied, she abandoned her self-respect to keep him. To a high-value man, this is a disqualifier. It tells him that you are a consumer of his validation, not a sovereign woman who is happy with or without him. The power of staying put. The woman who passes the standards consistency test does something very difficult for most people. She stays exactly where she is. If he pulls back, she doesn't move forward to fill the gap. She doesn't chase, she doesn't demand. She continues living her high-value life, trusting that her worth remains unchanged regardless of his frequency of contact. Imagine a high-definition, conceptual graph showing the attraction delta, the space between a man's pull, back in a woman's consistent self-respect, where the man's interest inevitably curves back upward. This response is a massive signal of high status. It tells him that your standards are a lifestyle, not a game. When he sees that his absence doesn't cause you to crumble, his respect for you reaches an entirely new level. He realizes that you are not a bargain. He can negotiate with you are a premium experience that requires his consistent investment to maintain. By being consistent in your boundaries, you actually make him feel safer with you. He knows that if you won't compromise your standards for him, you won't compromise them for anyone else either. Integrity under pressure. Ultimately, the standards consistency test is about integrity. It's about showing that your no means no and your yes means yes, even when it's uncomfortable. A man who wants to build a life with a woman needs to know that she is a rock, that she is a non-reactive sanctuary. Zai, as we discuss it, who doesn't flip her values the moment she feels a little bit of anxiety. When you pass this test, you aren't just proving your worth to him, you're proving it to yourself. You are showing that you are a woman of opinion sovereignty. He realizes that you are the real deal. A woman whose self-respect is so deeply rooted that even his absence can't shake it. And that is the moment he stops testing and starts committing. The opinion sovereignty. Probe why he challenges your truth. In the early stages of a relationship, there is a natural temptation to merge with your partner. We want to find common ground, we want to be liked, and we want to avoid friction. Because of this, many women fall into the trap of becoming a mirror. They agree with his taste in movies, they adopt his political stances, and they laugh at jokes they don't actually find funny. A high-value man, however, is not looking for a yes woman. He is looking for a partner with a backbone. This is why he uses the opinion sovereignty probe. He will purposefully present a differing, sometimes even provocative, opinion just to see if you will fold your values to please him. The agreeability trap. Most men have met plenty of women who are too easy to get along with, not because they are genuinely compatible, but because they are terrified of conflict. If he says he loves a certain author, and you immediately say, "Oh, me too," even though you've never read them, you are failing the probe. You are telling him that your desire for his approval is stronger than your commitment to the truth. To a man who is looking for a teammate, this is a massive red flag. He realizes that if you will fold for him, you will fold for anyone. He can't trust your yes if he knows you are too afraid to give him a no. He wants to know that you are a sovereign individual with a mind of your own, because a woman without her own opinions can never truly challenge him, grow with him, or keep him sharp. The strength of disagreement, the opinion sovereignty probe, is his way of checking your internal compass. When he disagrees with you, he is watching your micro reactions. Do you immediately backtrack? Do you start your sentence with, "Well, I guess you're right, but," or do you hold your ground with grace and humor? A woman who passes the probe says, "Actually, I completely disagree with you on that, and here's why." She does it without being combative, and she doesn't need him to change his mind to feel secure in her own. This is opinion sovereignty. It shows him that you have a non-reactive sanctuary within yourself. You don't need his validation to know that your thoughts have value. This creates a fascinating dynamic of intellectual parity. He realizes that he has met an equal, someone who can hold their own in a debate, and who brings a unique perspective to the table. The foundation of mutual respect. Ultimately, this probe is about trust. A man cannot truly respect a woman he can manipulate into changing her mind. He needs to know that your standards and your values are hard-coded into your character, not just temporary software that can be updated based on who you're dating. When you pass the opinion sovereignty probe, you are showing him that you are a safe harbor for the truth. He realizes that if he ever goes off track, you will have the courage to tell him. He knows that your support is real because it isn't automatic. By holding on to your own truth, you aren't pushing him away, you are pulling him into a deeper level of respect. You are showing him that you aren't just a +1 in his life. You are a sovereign queen who chooses to be by his side. The loyalty in absence factor, the integrity stress, test. A man who is looking for a forever partner isn't just interested in the version of you that shows up on a Saturday night. He is deeply invested in the version of you that exists when he isn't in the room. He knows that true character isn't what you do under the spotlight of a date. It's what you do in the shadows of your everyday life. This is the loyalty in absence factor. It is his way of determining if your integrity is a core part of your soul or just a costume you wear to keep him interested. That micro disloyalty audit. The test usually happens during casual conversation. He listens closely to how you talk about the people who are closest to you, your best friend, your sister, or your coworker. If you spent the afternoon with your friend and then spend the evening tearing her down to him, divulging her secrets, mocking her insecurities, or judging her life choices, you are failing the factor. In his mind, he is doing a simple calculation. If she is this disloyal to someone she has known for 10 years, how long will it take before she starts talking about my vulnerabilities to the next person who listens? To a high-value man, your gossip isn't just venting. It is a massive red flag of character instability. He realizes that you lack the empathy anchor required to protect a private union. He sees that you value the cheap thrill of social currency over the expensive value of sacred trust. The sacred circle, the loyalty in absence factor is about your ability to create a sacred circle. A high-value man wants to know that when he shares his safety to fail moments with you, those moments will never leave the room. He is looking for a woman who has the opinion sovereignty to defend his character even when he isn't there to defend himself. Image, a conceptual visual of a golden ring around a couple, representing the sacred circle of privacy that no external gossip can penetrate. If a man hears you defending a friend who is being gossiped about, or if he sees you being discreet with someone else's sensitive information, your value in his eyes skyrockets. You are signaling that you are a safe harbor. You are showing him that you have a moral compass that functions independently of who is watching. This builds a level of trust that no amount of chemistry can replicate. He realizes that with you, his reputation and his heart are in a non-reactive sanctuary, the ultimate predictor of the future. Ultimately, this factor is the ultimate predictor of relational longevity. A relationship is only as strong as the sunk cost of its secrets. If you are a leaky bucket with other people's lives, he knows you will be a leaky bucket with his. Image, a high-definition shot of a young woman smiling at her phone while her partner is in the background. The focus is on her calm, honest expression, suggesting she is being a gatekeeper of their shared world. When you pass the loyalty and absence factor, you are proving that you are a woman of high integrity. You are showing him that you are a guardian of connection. He realizes that you are the rare kind of woman who values the hidden bond more than the public performance. And that is the moment he stops wondering if he can trust you and starts realizing he can't live without you. Stop viewing his tests as something you have to study for. A high-value man doesn't want a woman who can pass a test by acting. He wants a woman whose self-respect is so deeply rooted that she doesn't even notice she's being evaluated. When you lead with opinion sovereignty and protect the sacred circle of your life, you stop being a candidate and you become the standard. Don't just be the woman he wants, be the woman he realizes he can't afford to lose. If you're ready to build that kind of unshakable value, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.